Today on Real Life in Real Estate, we are talking annual real estate reviews. Hi there and welcome to Real Life in Real Estate. I'm Mark Peebles, here to help you live your best life and achieve ultimate success. And I'm here today with my co-host, Natalie Correa.
Hey, yo.
Heyo, welcome.
I'm here.
Good to have you here
I'm gonna
today.
raise this up and I hope it doesn't make a loud noise.
No, it's not going to make a loud noise.
Great.
I don't think so.
No,
I hope
good.
not. Okay, well, Natalie and I today are hanging out to talk about annual real estate reviews.
Yes, we are.
Or client home value reports, as Natalie has just started in the business, right? How
Yes.
long in the business now?
Oh, what? It's 2 months?
2 months. Whoa, 2 months. And I've been in the business like 19 years, and
And 2 months.
and 2 months. Yeah, well, actually, and more than that. Okay, if we really want to do the math. Actually, yeah, 19 years. So annual annual real estate reviews or an annual home value report, two different ways that you can look at it. I did not start doing these until like 4 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've
That
not been
really
using
shocks
them.
me.
I've not been using them my whole career, and I wish I had, because
Wow.
I believe, and we've talked about this on this show, I believe they take your level of professionalism as an agent just to a whole new place. Boom, skyrockets. And I think it brings a ton of value to your clients, right? And
I totally agree.
so that's what we want to talk about today, because
Yeah.
with Natalie just starting in the business, you are starting your career doing annual real estate reviews
Yes.
or client home value reports. So
Yes.
talk to me a little bit about your first experience doing this.
Well, it's so funny because when I started my mentorship with Mark, the first thing he said is like, okay, build your list. Now let's do some annual real estate reviews of the people on your list. Start with your family. Start with
Pause.
your parents.
Her look was like this. Yeah. I mean, for those of you listening to the podcast, you didn't see that, but she was definitely wide-eyed
Deer in headlights.
when I said, okay, now that you have your list, we're going to start doing this.
He said, okay, you got your license this week. That's so exciting. Schedule 3 real estate reviews for me, and we'll talk later. And I was like, me? Why? How? What? What's going on? What do I do? Okay. And so I had a lot of like nervousness about it because, again, like when you start in real estate, even if you have previous experience, now you have to be the expert.
Right.
And so it puts a lot of pressure on the conversations with people who are like, oh, so tell me about the market and this. And you're like, I want to tell you, but the words are hard to put them together because you're still learning.
Right.
And so my first person I called, God bless him, my mom and dad. And I was like,
You even told me,
Hi,
you were
guys.
like, because I always recommend, first time you do this, here's the deal. Even if you're an experienced agent, if you've never done it before, do your own home, figure out your own home,
Yeah.
talk to your, Natalie, go talk to your husband, tell
Yeah.
Joey about it. But you need to start with people that you're very comfortable with, that you can practice in front of them and not feel like you're failing, because you have to get practice, you have to get comfortable with it. But tell me about doing it with your mom and dad, because
Well, it
you
was
were
so
instantly
funny.
like, mom and dad.
Yeah, I was like, can I do my parents? Like I was like 12, which is just funny, right? But I actually did one for my home first, just to like practice a little bit, just on my own. But when I scheduled the call with my parents, my dad is really funny, and so he's like, oh, hello, Natalie, real estate agent, how are you doing? And we pretend to have this whole professional conversation. He said, why don't we invite you over for dinner so we could talk about it over dinner? And I was
That's
like, that
funny.
sounds fantastic.
Did you do it live and in
I bring
person?
the children. No, I did actually.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. That's
well,
awesome.
Because we live on the same street. so
Can
might
I
as well.
bring the children?
Yeah.
I love it. Do you mind if I bring my kids along?
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you have a playroom that we can put them in? But anyways, it was funny. But no, I went over there and I prepared. My parents have 2 properties. They have previously had tons of real estate, but right now they only have 2. And so I did one for each of their properties.
Okay.
And then I presented it to them on an iPad. I probably next time will just print it out because for some reason technology just doesn't always agree with me.
Yep.
Even though I love it, like I just got there and I was like, I'm struggling to scroll. Why am I struggling to
Right.
scroll? Like, why is it happening right now? So, anyways, it was really great. I got to sit down with them and just talk through. I did the absorption rate for their area first.
Right, which we talked about absorption rate a little bit last week, right? Which is understanding how the market is moving, right? So we want to be able to show them within a 3-mile radius of your home in your price range, we are in a seller's market or a super seller's market, or we might be moving towards a little bit more balanced market. But that's the first thing, is we want to show them how the market around their property or their properties are moving, right?
And I always preface it with saying, like, this is what I can see of your property before I ever step in the doors.
Yep.
And so if you would like something more in depth, something a little bit more accurate, probably, like if you want exact, I'll come over and have this conversation with you after we walk through the house. That's when I would run comps and like do like a full CMA.
Okay, so you go through the absorption rate. What else is on there that you're talking to them about?
So then I talk to them about what the online platforms say their home is worth. And so I go through just like the general list. Now, they can do this. And so one part that made this really hard for me is not everybody is looking at Zillow at their house property, at the value of their home. My parents are all the time. They are very knowledgeable about the real estate market. They're very knowledgeable about everything. So sitting down with them was like probably the worst scenario for the first one, because
a little more intense.
It was more intense, and of course very forgiving, really great. But like I had notes afterwards of what I needed to do better next time. So I was
well, that's good because it's constructive, right? They're helping you be better, right?
It was good, but so I went through and they were like, "Oh, we see all this," and I said, "Well, actually, I have access to some other things I can see on the MLS," and I referenced RPR, which is something that we have.
Realtors Property Resource. If you're a realtor out there and you do not use RPR, I highly recommend it. We get it for free because we're a member of the National Association of Realtors, so we always pull RPR into it as one of the portals that we're looking at, right? They don't have access to that one.
Yeah, and I usually, if I don't list it, I reference it. So then they just know, like, this isn't just something you can do on your own, but I can also see extra stuff when it just comes to the what online platforms are saying about their property.
Right.
And then again, when I talk to them about it, I'm like, hey, yeah, you can do this, but I want to provide this for you so you don't have to worry about it.
Right.
I'm going to put it on a nice little sheet, and then you can print it off and put it in your little home packet, so you know in 2025 this is what your home was worth.
That's right.
Which kind of helps a little bit, instead of them thinking like, oh, she did all this stuff and I could have just done it myself. Like, no, I know you can. I'm taking this for you and doing it for you. Plus, I can see the absorption rate because I have access to the MLS and be able to see a lot more than what the average Joe can see.
Right.
And so that really helps in that conversation, kind of set it up that I am a real estate expert instead of someone who's just throwing some little paper together and be like, I know what I'm talking about. No, it really, they go, oh, I could do this, but you also have access to all this stuff that I couldn't see. So that's pretty cool.
Okay, so you're providing for them the absorption rate. You're giving them the average online value, right? So you're going through, you're listing Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com. Maybe you throw RPR in there. And then you take those four and you average what their home value is. And then the other thing that I always encourage is you look at what their baseline is, right?
Yeah.
So tell me, because I remember when you and I went through this data, what was your parents' baseline? What did they pay for their home?
Oh my gosh.
It was like $100,000, wasn't it?
It was 100 something because their home the value has gone up like over 400%.
I know, yeah, it was huge. And so, but they've been there.
500%.
What have they been there? 30 years or something?
Yeah, no, Yeah,
so,
I'm 28, so 28 years.
Okay, so yeah, they've been there almost 30 years.
Yes.
But we always put that on there. So here's the thing. Natalie, I call it an annual real estate review, but I have clients that years ago I sold them their house, and so now every year I do an annual real estate review. Natalie's just starting in the business. She's never done an annual real estate review for anyone. Yeah. She's doing these client home value reports, and when she's doing that, she goes and she finds out what the baseline is. She can't go back and look at what the portal said the house was worth last year, but she can look and see what they paid for the house.
Yeah, and I like being able to do that because I'm then getting experience on how to look up homes and property searches from different counties and things like that. So it's all a part of the experience.
Yep.
And then I list when they bought it and for how much. That's what I like to do. And I say how much it was, and then I say the percentage of how much it's grown in value or decreased. Never happened. it'll always grow because it's
Right.
land. So yeah, so it's really great. And so that having that layout just really creates great conversation. And one thing Mark taught me to do is once I get done presenting, which honestly, the presentation portion, less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's very easy.
Small talk at the beginning, like to connect with them as people. And then I do the little 5-minute, well, this is why I called you today. I don't want to waste a bunch of your time, but I just want to let you know this is kind of what your home value is. They'll go, oh my goodness, wow, look how much our house is worth.
Yeah.
And then you say, how do you feel about this? And just stop.
Yep.
And that's one thing Mark taught me to do. And it's been really great. Some
Good.
people will be like, I feel good. And they'll just stare at me. I'm like, okay, cool. And some people will say, this is really cool. I didn't know my home was worth this much. Hey, have you thought about selling?
Yeah.
And it creates conversation.
What's that? Do you remember the key question? Oh, come on.
Yes, I do.
Okay, key question that you should always be asking.
At the very end of the conversation, usually this is how I tie a bow on it, is I ask them how they felt about it. And then I ask, do you know anybody who would value from this? And then I say, who do you know who is interested? Who do you know who?
Who do you know
Is
who?
interested in buying, selling, or investing right now?
Okay, so why who do you know who?
Well, because if I say, do you know anyone? Then they go,
No. Right, exactly.
Mark is just beaming right now because
I
it's all
am.
the
I'm
stuff
so
he's telling
proud.
me.
Like this, we've talked so much about it. Of course, you have been using this now for the last several weeks. You've been
Yeah.
doing these.
Yeah, but it's like becoming a part. Like I'm becoming fluent in real estate, which is nice. So when I do that, it really tees them up to say like, okay, I don't know anyone. But then I let them sit and think for a second.
Yep.
And sometimes they'll say, I don't know anybody other than I had 2 friends I did this for. I'm like going through my friend group.
Yep.
Because almost all of them, I think all of them own homes. And so I had 2 friends who did it and they just went, outside of our friend group, I don't think so. And I was like, oh, maybe like parents or anybody else from church. And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Okay, that's fine. No pressure.
I'm not even going to pressure them.
It's not a pressure thing, but I think you just brought up something very key. If you're a new agent out there that you need to think about. So it's not just who do you know who's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate this year. The beauty of that question is when you ask that question, they might say, well, I am, right? So great, you just uncovered it. But they might, you want them to think of other people.
Yes.
Key to that is when you ask the question, don't say another word. Let them think. The second you start talking again, you break that train of thought. But if you let them sit in silence and let them think about it, they'll think of someone, or hopefully they'll think of someone. But what Natalie brought to me that takes it to the next level is who do you know who would benefit from a client home value report like this?
Yeah.
Because now you're building your list.
Yes.
You're growing your list. You're feeding your list. I love it.
What's funny is that's how I got connected to I have 2 friends who I did this for, 2 of my best friends. They said, oh, our other friends, like a different friend group, they would be interested in this. And I've met them a couple times, gone to
Awesome.
Bible study with her a couple times. So I was like, oh, I have her number. So I reached out to our caller and said, hey, my friends, let me know that you guys are interested in buying or selling or something. And before you even start, I'd love to provide this for you so you can kind of get a good scope of what you're looking at.
Yep.
It doesn't cost anything. You don't have to do anything. And you don't even have, I was like, I want to earn your business. So this is not me saying I will be your agent forever.
Yep.
This is me saying I'd love to show you kind of what I can see for you so then you can start to plan.
Yeah.
And which was, it kind of won the business for me. I had a conversation with her and the conversation was kind of funny because timing got off.
Here's what I want to say. You know why it won the business for you?
Yeah.
Because you're delivering value.
Yep.
That other agents, even the agent that sold them their house, is not delivering this value to them. That's why I believe everyone in your sphere of influence, if you're an experienced agent out there, this takes your business to the next level because you've got past clients to call with this, but then you've got people in your sphere of influence that did business with another agent several years ago that should be doing business with you because they can't even remember the name of that agent.
Yep.
So how do you solidify yourself in their mind as the expert? You provide value, and I think there's so much value to this. The last thing I want to touch on, how are you going about these? Or you did it in person with your parents. Have you done all of them in person?
No, I've done as many as I can over like Google Meet or Zoom or something like that. Whatever's easiest for them. And so all of them except for my parents and my grandmother who doesn't know how to do it. So if you have someone who's not really tech savvy, you might have to go to their home. Or I've had a couple people who said, I'm interested in it, but I don't want to do a meeting.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit of a bummer because I don't get the opportunity to ask all the questions. But they're people who value what I'm sending to them.
Right.
And so long term, hopefully I get to win some business from them.
Yeah, so let me give you my quick synopsis of how, okay? Yeah. So I think in-person is great, but in-person's kind of impractical unless it is someone that can't take email or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
I love Google Meet and Zoom because they're seeing your face as you're presenting the data to them. So that really is my favorite way is Google Meet. Or Zoom. I say both of them. As a company, we use Google Meet, and it always throws me off. Yeah. Now, if you can't do either one of those, don't just email it, okay? Here's what you need to do. I think you need to use BombBomb or a video email platform. Oh. You need to talk through your report, right? You talk through the presentation. Do the presentation, talk through the report. Attach that in the email, but then you're going to call them or you're going to text them and you're going to say, hey, listen, I just sent your annual real estate review or I just sent you a client home value report that I prepared for you. I want to make sure it's in your inbox and it's great information. I sent a video explaining it. I just want to make sure that you see it, okay? So that's the first thing. If you weren't able to schedule with them, that's number one. Then you send it, make sure they know that it's coming, and then 2 days later, you follow up and say, hey, I just want to make sure you saw that client home value report that I sent to you and make sure that I answer any questions you might have, okay?
I love it. I didn't do that, and I will go back and follow up with those people.
Well, so what Natalie doesn't know that's coming, Siri thinks I'm talking to her. Siri just butted in on our conversation.
Wow. Welcome, Siri.
Thank you, Siri, for coming to the podcast today. No, but listen, what we're going to do, next in mentorship is we're actually going to put this into practice, and we are going to send out a bunch in a month. I'm talking like 30 or 40 of them to get you in front of more people on your list, okay? So if you're out there, I challenge you to do the same thing. Set a goal. Like I'm going to send 30 of them this month. I usually recommend 2 to 4 a week, right? If you're newer in the business, you don't have as much going on, you should be doing 2 to 4 of these a week. If you're a well-established agent, you should be doing at least 2 face-to-face per week and then send the others out. Like I like BombBomb. That's just the video platform that I really like to use. But you really should be doing this, okay? And I want you to set a goal. I'm going to send a bunch of them this month, and I'm going to do this with you, okay? We're going to send video emails out to everybody explaining them. And our goal, let's set a goal for the month of May. We're going to send 40 of them. Can we do that? 40. Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay? 40, you on with me? Are you on with me is the question.
I feel like I have to, but I will do it, and it's going to be great.
Here's the thing. This is going to put you in front of so many people. And especially when you're new and you're going, what can I do? How do I jumpstart my career? This is how we do it. We're going to get you in front of people. So that's Real Life and Real Estate for this week. Remember that the show is being brought to you by Advantage Home Warranty, AdvantageHW.com, best home warranty in the business. So if you live in Ohio, serve clients in Ohio, I highly recommend it. If you're across the country, we're going to have to wait for them to get to you. But it is my favorite home warranty. Thanks for being with me again, Natalie.
This was awesome.
I love it. I'm so glad that you were here.
Yeah.
All right. That's it for today. Go and do it, and we'll see you again next week.